Welcome to the Flippin' Hippos reseller channel. I'm Star. If you're new here or you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. We have lots of hungry hippos that we need to feed. Today is Wednesday, February 12th. Because it's a Wednesday, that means it's time for midweek motivation. This is the video I do every week where I give you a pep talk, a kick in the butt if it's needed, maybe some tough love, but general motivation to get you through over the hump into the rest of the week. And you get to watch me work while I talk to you. Hopefully you brought some work along too so that everyone is multitasking, getting motivated while we work. This week, I want to talk about the importance of community. You hear me talk about that a lot on this channel. It's one of my biggest talking points. If I had to pick the top 3 things I talk about the most, it's probably the race to the bottom, the importance of work-life balance, and the importance of community. And I would say those are 3 of the most important things to talk about and teach you. And I don't hear a lot of other resellers talking about the race to the bottom and that balance. We do hear a lot of resellers talk about community because it's important, because it means so much to so many of us. There are a lot of resellers who have made connections and friendships and become family, who travel and go to events, who are reclusive and go to Zoom calls or local events or just Instagram. However you do it, you need to do it. Reselling is such a lonely job for the most part. Even if you have a huge community of friends locally and you guys do a lot of things together, most of the time, Monday to Friday, when we're listing, we're in our offices, we're in our homes alone, and that can become very lonely. Even if you're not a social person, even if you're not someone that really thrives on relationships and friendships, even if you're kind of a loner, being alone all the time they've done studies, does weigh on you mentally. We all, even the most hermity of us, need some kind of human contact once in a while for our mental health. Even if it's just to go outside for a walk and wave at a neighbor, get on Instagram and talk to other resellers. It's just so super important that we're not completely isolated and alone all the time. Even though some of us, we won't mention names, feel like sometimes we just want to hide in our office and hide away. But I'm a very social creature by nature. I'm an anomaly. I want to stay at home. I never want to leave. I want to be hermity. I want to live in my pajamas. But I also want to be social and make friends. And so that's where the virtual events come in, and they're great for people like me. I have a very social life. I do a lot of things every week, once a week, twice a week, monthly, with my reseller friends without leaving my office. It's pretty cool. So I do a book club once a month on a Zoom call with the girls from Consignment Chats. And you can look up Consignment Chats. It's Molly, Libby, and Samantha. They do a lot for the reselling community in terms of teaching you a lot about reselling and doing consignment. They have a Patreon. The free level of their Patreon will already get you a lot of really great advice, and their YouTube where they teach you a lot. And they have 2 book clubs. They read 1 nonfiction book a month that's meant to better you or your business. And then they read 1 fiction book a month. I'm in their fiction book club because y'all know I'm a book girly and I love to read. And we get together once a month, we read a book, and we talk about it. It's just like a traditional book club, but it's online, and we can do it in our pajamas from our offices, and we can be with our friends from all over the country. I do the crafting party once a week through List Perfectly, where we all get together and do crafts while we talk. And I do my true crime. I don't want to call it a class because it's not like a murder class, but we cover a crime every Friday and talk about it. And I really enjoy that. I'm doing things that I like to do outside of reselling. You know, part of the community and part of that work-life balance I talk about is not being so singular, narrow your tunnel vision into reselling that becomes your entire identity. You don't want reselling to be your entire identity. You want to still be you. You want to have work hours, that's the balance. And then you want to have interests outside of reselling. And I'll be honest with you, the majority, probably 90% of my friends are also resellers, but they also understand having the balance and the importance of having other interests. So even though I hang out with mostly resellers all the time, we still do other things. We craft, we talk about true crime, we read books. And so it's important that you make these connections and that you have these friends, just so that you're not lonely, but so that you can explore your other interests. Like, things are more fun with friends, right? I haven't done it in a long time, but I used to have a group of reseller friends on Facebook that once a month we would pick a horror movie and we would all, like, either FaceTime or just be in a chat and watch a horror movie together and talk about it. So it's always fun to do things with other people. Building a strong network of other resellers and friends is important for both your business and yourself and your mental health. I've already talked a lot about the socializing aspect of it and how it's good to do things with people and it can be very fun, but it can also be very, very educational and very rewarding to surround yourself with other resellers and to have a community. You can just go join the Instagram community of resellers and look at what they're posting and see what they're doing and look at their thrifting trips. The amount of knowledge for free that we can get as resellers is astounding. It's almost like Reseller University is all over the internet and it's free. All it costs is a little bit of your time. But when it comes to bettering yourself and constantly learning how to be a better reseller, how to build a bigger business and make more profits, time spent on that is always worth it. Doom scrolling TikTok for hours for entertainment versus joining a Facebook group or an Instagram community and learning from other resellers. Which one is a better way to spend your time, right? But you're always going to learn. I don't care if you've been selling since yesterday or since 1938. When you are around other resellers, you will hear other points of view. You will see how other folks are doing things different from you, and you can always take something away. It's amazing how much or how little you can take away. Just something as small as where somebody stores their shipping supplies in accordance to where their desk is sat. You've never thought of that, but it would really streamline your process and make you quicker at shipping. And you probably have had your setup forever, so you never would have thought of changing it until you see someone on Instagram doing a video of how they ship. You can learn about a lot from watching other people thrift and haul videos and what sold videos. Just in casual conversation. Casual conversation is what led me to being a jewelry seller. I was in one of my crafting parties. I keep calling it a class because Keith and I have an inside joke. One time, like a year ago, I accidentally said while we were loading the dishwasher after dinner, "Oh, I have my art class tonight." It's a party. It's a Zoom call. We all get together and craft while we talk about work. We talk about a lot of stuff, but we talk a lot about reselling too. But ever since then, like, Keith teases me every Wednesday night. "Is it your art class?" So it's kind of an inside joke. And everyone that comes now, it's an art class, but it's just a crafting party. But just in casual conversation, everyone's sitting there doing their own craft and we're talking. And my friend Don mentions jewelry and where he buys it from. And I'm like, I'm going to buy a box. And look at what that has led to. One of the most enjoyable niches I've ever been in. Listing and selling jewelry brings me so much joy. So much joy. It's on par with how much joy Plush brings me. I love selling jewelry. Now I'm on Etsy. And that came from just someone crafting, actually. Don makes his own jewelry. And that's what he brought to the party. So something so innocuous, just a casual conversation or a post you see on Instagram or something someone says on Facebook can ignite an entire fire underneath you and lead you to places you never thought you would go you never knew existed. You have to always be learning, and you always have to be willing to learn, but you cannot do that on your own. You cannot be solitary and go thrifting alone every day and sit in your office and list every day and be completely solitary and do things the way that you've always done them and ever grow. It's so important to be around like-minded people. It's good to have a life outside of resellers too. You can have other friends. You can have book clubs, craft clubs. You can have your family. You can have a dog walking club. It's great to have friends outside of reselling, but those folks don't understand reselling. I like being around resellers sometimes just because they get it. They understand. They know what I mean when I say, gosh, I went to the thrift and there was nothing there, or they understand when I'm upset about a bad feedback. They get it. Being around like-minded people, I don't think people understand how important that is sometimes. There's opportunity for growth and education and fun. I've never been in a room full of resellers and not had fun. And by room, I mean virtually or in real life. I've never gone to lunch with my local eBay group and not had fun and really enjoyed myself. And I don't even really like thrifting. Most of you know that. If you don't, surprise. Keith and I both do not like thrifting. We don't like going to thrifts and yard sales and church sales. It's just not our personality. We don't like crowds. We don't like germs. Keith has never really liked reselling, to be honest with you. But when I go to my once a month thrifting trip with my local eBay group here, and I'm with my girls and we're having fun, I actually enjoy it and I really look forward to it. And I get up at 7 in the morning, sometimes a little bit earlier for those days. I don't like to be out of bed that early, and I don't like to leave the house and go thrifting, but I look forward to those Sundays, and I have a lot of fun. And yeah, we split up in the store and we all do our own thing, but we come together at the end to show off what we found. And hey, I found this and thought of you. It's not really a competition. We all sell different things, and some of the stuff we sell is the same. But if I know I just bought 500 pieces of clothing from my friend Jay, and I find a whole rack of $1 scrub tops, and I know Kelly that I'm at the thrift with sells those too, I'll bring her over to him and give them to her. It's about sharing and learning, and I've learned a lot just going to the thrift with my friends. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's underrated. Like, we all know on some level how important it is to network and learn and have fun and make friends, but I don't think we talk about it enough, or we're all just taking it for granted. I mean, if you already know the importance and you already have your tribe, as they like to say, don't take it for granted. I did lose a friend a year ago. Thankfully, I didn't take him for granted, and we hung out at every event, and he came here to visit me for my birthday. But life is short, so make sure your people know that you appreciate them. Make sure you don't take it for granted that you have people. Community events, networking events, those are all good to go to. Local, traveling to, whatever your comfortability is, that's important as well. Some people could travel twice a week all year long and love it. Some people like me used to travel a lot, but it wreaked havoc on my mental health and my anxiety, so I'm kind of stepping back now. And some people would never travel. Some people love to leave the house. Some people like big crowds and big groups. Some people don't. You have to find your comfortability level and socialize within that. And thankfully, in today's day and age, you can do everything from you can join a Facebook group or go on Instagram and get involved, not involved. If you make an Instagram account and start following other resellers, you can lurk. You can join a Facebook group and lurk. So if your comfortability level is literally so shy that you don't want to interact, that's a start, and that's okay if that's what you want to do. So you can join reselling groups, and you can get on Instagram, and just search hashtags: reselling, thrifting, sourcing. Follow me and look at who I follow and follow them and look at who they follow. It's very easy to build your Instagram so that you're following a ton of resellers. And then you can just look at what they're posting. You don't have to post. You don't have to make videos. You can just look at what other people are doing. And the same in the Facebook groups. You can just go in there and read. You don't have to participate. That's like the lowest level that I recommend even to the most hermity of hermits, non-social people. But then you can do events in your office. The listing parties that List Perfectly offers with your subscription, I cannot tell you enough that your subscription, your monthly subscription that you pay List Perfectly, your listing party access is worth that alone, let alone everything else List Perfectly does for you. I feel like I have a second employee. I feel like I have a virtual lister nowadays, the way List Perfectly works. It does a lot. It does a lot. But that subscription price is worth the listing parties alone. I always say the listing parties are like the reseller university plus going out after work with your friends, because there's so many people on there hosting so many things. If you think of a topic that has to do with reselling, there is a class or someone holding a listing party on that to teach you. There's people holding fun things over the weekend. There's an accounting one. They get together and do their books. I do the crafting and the true crime. There's so much going on there. And there's a 24-hour room that people can go into at any time of the day. And they're just kind of quiet in there and they work. And if they have questions or need help, you can get it. I could talk about listing parties all day long. It's the most amazing community of resellers I've ever been a part of. The List Perfectly community of resellers has never been toxic, has never been negative. It has always been supportive. It is all about lifting everyone up so that we can all succeed. And everyone that's a part of that community by default, I guess, because the community is so much like that, it's full of positive people who want to lift each other up and help each other. And everyone's fun. So there's joining Facebook groups. I have one, Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. You can go on Instagram and start following other resellers and simply just follow me, honestly. Follow Flippin' Hippos, look at who I follow them, and then follow, and then start looking at stuff, and the algorithm will see that you're interested in resellers, and that's what you'll start seeing. And then if you want to try List Perfectly and you're not on there yet, sign up for your first month. Flippin' Hippos code will get you 30% off. Sign up with the lowest subscription just to try out the parties, if nothing else that List Perfectly does. Use my code and attend some parties and do some learning and do some networking and see what you think. You can also join a local eBay seller meetup. So these are all over the country. Most cities have them, and if they don't, you can start one. I started one here in Pittsburgh. It's kind of small right now. And some of my friends have, like my friend Cheryl in Florida has one that's really big. But if your city doesn't have one, you can start one, and you can go to, it's sellerevents.ebay.com. You put in your city, and it shows you if there's a local eBay meetup group in your area and what their events are. And every group is going to have different events. Just depends on who's running it and the group itself. When I first started my group, we used to just meet up for dinner once a month, and then we kind of felt that it was more convenient for us to meet on a Saturday for lunch, so we weren't interrupting our work. And then it evolved into thrifting once a month as well, so we have 2 in-person events. And then I usually get networking rooms at eBay Open, and we had a lot of people come in all the time that were like in the Pittsburgh area, Maryland, DC, Virginia, even West Virginia, who couldn't make local events. So we've grown again, and now we do virtual events once a month. But go on sellerevents.ebay.com, look for your area, and I can guarantee you, no matter how shy or weird you feel about it, when you show up, you'll be welcomed. People who run eBay events locally, people who attend eBay events locally are there because they want to make friends. They're there because they want to network. They're there because they want to be around other like-minded people, and they're going to be friendly and they're going to be accepting, and you're going to feel like you just met all your new friends. You don't have to be like, oh, no one's going to like me. It has to. People that meet in person at these events are there because they want to meet new people. They want to connect with other resellers in the area. I guarantee you they want you there, and they're going to accept you, and they're going to be your friend. I mean, unless there's some eBay group somewhere that's just mean people, but I very seriously doubt it. There are some Facebook groups that are very toxic and full of just mean resellers. That does exist, but I don't think any of that goes on in real life. I would say the List Perfectly community of resellers is my favorite. I feel like that's the best group I've ever been a part of. They have a Facebook group that you can join even if you don't use List Perfectly. The Boss group is really good, run by Vicky and Katie. They're very positive. They have a local group in Vegas. They run an event every year. And they have a group on Facebook that's pretty nice. My group, I would highly recommend. And you can be a part of the consignment chat girls that I talked about earlier. They're pretty positive. I personally don't have time for negativity or toxic people, especially on the internet. Like, people on the internet are strangers to me for the most part, unless you're part of my community. So I don't know. I've never seen the purpose of arguing with strangers on the internet, and that includes customers on eBay. Like, okay, sorry, return it and get a refund. I'm not going to argue with people. I don't have the energy, and I am not spending the time to argue with people. I don't have time for it. I put a meme on my personal Facebook at the beginning of the year that said, how I'm going to argue with people on the internet in 2025. Okay, thanks, you're right, bye. Because really, I don't. I have no time for toxicity. So if you ever hear me talk about groups or communities on here, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're good and they're full of positive people. By design. I want to be around other resellers who have a good attitude and want to learn and be friends and have fun, you know? And I used to go to all the events in person, and I had so much fun while I was there. The anxiety and the insomnia and the mental health stuff is leading up to and when I get home from. But when I'm there, I'm enjoying myself. I look forward to every Wednesday night and every Friday afternoon for my listing parties. I look forward to my monthly virtual. And I talked about looking forward to thrifting again. And my monthly lunches with my friends in my local group. I really enjoy it. And this is coming from someone who's I'm internal. Like I say, I'm a social creature and I love to socialize. If you plop me down in a group full of people, I'm probably going to be the loudest person in the group, making jokes and laughing and making friends. And I'm social that way. But when I'm left to my own devices, I probably would just sit in my house and work and read. That's what I would do. But I enjoy all these because it kind of forces me to be social. I think the term for someone like me is ambivert. I believe that's what it's called. It's a really weird combination of an introvert and an extrovert. It's an ambivert. So sometimes I need to be introverted and sometimes I need to be extroverted. You can look it up. It's pretty interesting. And I know a lot of resellers who are the same. It's like if you're alone for too long, you need that socialization. But if you're around people too much or socializing too much, you need to withdraw and be introverted for a while. But I'm telling you, these communities are great, and I have a lot of fun. Next week, on Wednesday, February 19th, I will be on my friend's YouTube. If you want to go follow their YouTube ahead of time, I'll link it in the description below. MikeMetco MeetUps. I'll put the link below. My friend Mary McQuain, who's been a longtime viewer of the channel, I think since I started in 2018, she's been watching me. She went through Dave Ramsey and went on his program and got to do the debt-free scream and did a shout out to me on his show for my channel, introducing her to Dave Ramsey and everything she's learned for reselling. So we've been friends since then. And she's a really awesome reseller. I know she was really big into Macari for a long time. Anyway, she's running this YouTube with her friend Mike, and they're having tons of people on to talk about the local eBay seller meetups. So I'll be on there we're recording next Wednesday. So I'll put the link down below. You can follow his channel now. Go ahead and subscribe to it. And we're going to sit down and record our interview next Wednesday. And then once it's live and it's out, I'll give you guys a link and you can see it. I'm going to talk more about this in general, community, meetups, how to meet up with other people on the internet and stuff like that. But we'll get into more talk about budgeting and money and Dave Ramsey. It'll be a really good time. Okay, today's was a long one, but I really feel like this is super important to talk about once in a while. I offhandedly mention the importance of community all the time, but I don't think I've ever sat down and just talked to you about how super important it is, both for your business growth, but your own mental well-being. It's super important. I can't express it enough. You're going to learn. You're going to become a better business owner, a better reseller. Your business is going to grow, but you're going to be more fulfilled and happy. So go join a community. Go try List Perfectly. Again, you can try it for 1 month, 30% off. There's no contract. If you find out the listing parties aren't for you, you can cancel, but they're going to be for you. And that's my challenge to you. Just go be part of the community in some way, somehow that is comfortable for you and your personality, but also be productive. Make some money, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.